Hello everybody, good evening. Welcome to JAIIB English Medium channel. Today in this particular video, we will be talking about a reality check. Now, as you know that since the budget has been presented by the Finance Minister on 1st of February, many speculations are ongoing related to this high level committee on banking, because it has been announced by the Finance Minister in the budget itself that we will be constituting one high level committee for the banking reforms. What is the actual issue here? How we as bankers must interpret this thing? Everything we'll be looking into in this particular video. Whether we are only talking about the economic reforms or for that matter, the merger of your public sector banks can happen. And the last and the most important pain point of many bankers, that is whether the public sector banks can be privatized or not. All these pointers with reality check, with facts, we will be discussing in this particular video. So first and the foremost thing, when you talk about the banking here, it will be having some ramifications as being discussed in the budget also. Fine. The banking will see certain reforms for sure. The internal structure might get changed, or for that matter, you will find an overwhelming change, transformation in the entire banking industry. But where it started? It all started with the budget presentation, which was there on 1st of February. And post the budget presentation, there was one conference, or for that matter, the post budget conference, which was held on 1st of Feb only, and to the surprise of many reporters, the Finance Minister has indeed given some inputs regarding this high level banking on committee. So it's high level committee on the banking. The official statements, here are the two official statements which we must read out loud so as to interpret that what is going to happen in future. So the first statement is of our Finance Minister, where she stated that the terms of reference will be prepared and we are looking at a committee to go into the entire expanse of the banking sector. So entire expanse not only means the internal structure will change, you will find some things ongoing which are in the news also, that yes, merger can happen, that we are looking into an overhaul of the banking sector so that they come up with recommendations which will help us to plan for banking for 2047. Now this 2047 slogan, or the Vikasit Bharat 2047 slogan, is there in order to help our country become or get transformed into a developed nation. And when we say that developed nations, what is the banking sector does the banking sector looks like in those developed nations? We are trying to replicate that in our country also, and there you will find that only 2 or 3 major banks are there, fine, in all those developed nations, and they are trying to provide the necessary push towards the infrastructure development. So yes, Vikasit Bharat 2047 slogan, we want to accomplish this via the expanse of our banking sector. And how we are looking into this expanse, whatever the recommendation will be in this particular committee report. So yes, once the committee is formed and they give the recommendation, then only you will be able to say for sure that yes, this will happen. But in this session, we will be looking into those things which can happen, the possibility, we will be exploring that. According to the DFS, your Department of Financial Services Secretary, Mr. M. Naga Raju. So ultimately, you must be knowing that DFS is the particular organ of the ministry only, which ultimately formulates the policy. So yes, the DFS statement, or for that matter, the secretary of the DFS, he also stated some pointers in that post budget conference. So there's, for example, the commercial credit to GDP ratio. He has directly highlighted that credit to GDP ratio we will be exploring, because ultimately the credit growth, although it is having a higher number right now, but as compared to some previous years, its growth is not that expansive. Expansion of the banking network also, we want to expand the banking network. That is what reported by the DFS secretary here. issues relating to deposit and credit growth. So not only the credit growth, but we also want the deposits to grow, because you must be knowing that right now in our country to deposit ratio is much more higher, which is not at all acceptable. Fine, the range which has been defined by the RBI, we are going beyond that. So yes, that is also one of the pointer which has been highlighted by the DFS secretary, all of which will be looked at via the high level committee on banking reforms. Okay, now comes the reality check. When we talk about the reality check, what we can decipher from these two statements, that these two things will come for sure. Fine, the highest possibility what we can explore are these two. First possibility, that yes, we will be reforming our banking sector in line 4/7 Vikasit Bharat slogan. And when we talk about the high level committee, to align the India's banking sector with its journey towards becoming a developed economy. So banking sector, how it should look like in a developed nation, that is what our committee will explore. That is the first reality which will happen. Secondly, since this point, the blueprint for mega lenders is in news since the last year 2025 onwards only, we found that one report has been published by the CRISIL, fine, and that direct report has highlighted that India is not having many lenders top 100 list when we talk about the global scenario. So yes, we want some mega lenders, we want more lenders to come in the top 20 of that particular list, and this is the major reason why you might find merger as well in future. The primary mandate is to draw up a roadmap for mega lenders, global scale institutions capable of meeting the massive credit needs of India's next level growth phase. So when will the growth happen? When you have the amount, when you have the sum of money which is required to provide the proper push, the throttle for our economic growth. Fine. And the challenge, everybody must be knowing that we have $4.5 trillion challenge in front of us, because this is the number which we require to be invested in the infrastructure of our country, so as to have a leap of faith and become a developed nation. From where you will find this particular, either you do external borrowings or make your banks capable enough to forward this particular amount to the government for the infrastructure expands. So we have we almost require close to 4.5 trillion in infrastructure investment by 2040 to sustain the developed economy status. And the larger banks, when we align them with the specified institution or the infrastructure expansion only, they are critical to unlock the required capital flow for our building. We want to build a nation which is having a tag of developed one. Fine, we want to become a developed nation. And right now when you see the picture in July 2024, the credit growth was 13.7%. you may argue that this but will be higher. Why? Because this is post COVID era, where the numbers have plummeted in COVID time. Now we can see that the higher growth rate is there. But both, when we talk about in today's time, the July 2025 data shows us that it has the line not that high as was expected. Again, I am telling you, the growth rate, the credit growth rate is higher, no doubt. But when it is compared with the previous levels, the past year's level, it is not that high. And that is the major reason why we want to push our banks to lend more. Fine. So the domestic credit growth has shown the signs of cooling, emphasizing for structural reform as well as efficiency in the banking sector. Now what should be the key focus? Key focus areas means that where should the ministry, or for that matter this committee, should focus on. So first of all, it must be the financial, you should not have such recommendations implemented which won't help us in the longer run. The financial stability must be intact, so ensuring the banking system remains resilient against the global volatility while expanding rapidly. So you must have a check and balances approach when it comes to expanding our credit growth, because we have to look into the foreign, or for that matter global negative as well. Next is deep inclusion. The banking facilities should reach the common man even as the institutions scale into giants. Normally we say na that private banks, they are providing the services to the common people. Now when we are talking about the expansion of our public sector banks, whether they should only focus on the mega lending or not, or for that matter they should go with the common man requirements. They must fulfill the common man requirement as well. So inclusion must be there. The third important area is the customer or the consumer protection, whereby that our consumers are protected from all those cyber criminal activities which are ongoing right now. So these areas which you can say will be discussed for sure in the high level committee meeting. Now when you talk about the mega lending, or for that matter the merger, why it will happen? Why it will happen? We are not saying that it will happen, but if it is going to happen in the near future, what are the possible reasons right now? So the major reason which has been in news since past 1 year has settled across this particular discussion. So we can say for sure that this is one of the most prominent reason why your merger might happen. Right? The merger might happen, making the various institutions in our country global. We want to achieve the top 10 global target. And what is this top 10 global target? You can see for yourself here. S&P Global has given back in 2025, where it listed various banks in all the you can say countries of the globe, directly highlighted that India is having only two banks, State Bank of India and HDFC, ranked 43 and 73 respectively in the top 100 of the globe. So that is the concerning area for our country, that not even a single bank is there in top beside this top 10. Fine, is the reason where you might happen. We want to consolidate the banks and have the mega lenders who will not only finance the infrastructural growth but also of being the banking industry of a developed nation. So building the global mega lenders, the government strategy is to create 3 to 4 very large banks that can compete with the top global lenders by the asset. The asset mark is not you can say the one which we wanted for our banks. The assets which are there right now held by HDFC, although they are doing good in India, but when you talk about the global scenario, we are nowhere around the developed nations mark when it comes to the scale of growth. The large balance sheets for multi-billion dollar projects, we have to provide $4.5 trillion. Global benchmark moving Indian banks into top 30, top 50. Right now we have only SBI in the top 50 category. Synergy first, the focus must be on consultative mergers based on the operational logic. You must have heard that the merger which happened recently in the last 10 years, that the merger only happened once the mission was fulfilled, or for that matter finalized with the banks, the respective banks. So definitely it is a long process. It's not like that overnight you will find the merger of the banks, but synergy must be ensured, and after only consulting with the respective banks, the government will take a step. Now comes an area where you must focus on. Fine. When we talk about the mega lenders, whether we are just saying it for the sake of creating a session, answer is no. We have the headlines whereby you can find the statements issued by various authority in our country. So the first statement, or for that matter the first headline in front of you by the public sector banks chiefs. Various chiefs, they have given the statement that at least 2 Indian banks should be in global top 20. Fine, that is the first target, and it is not like somebody from the government is saying it. No, the public sector bank chiefs are telling us the facts. Are more confident to manage process mergers and amalgamation in the banking sector on the back of very effective consolidation in PSB space amid the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, said the bankers or the PSB chief. So yes, they are saying that we can manage the process of mergers. That is the main area, the area where we must have the discussion in the banking industry. Second statement is given by the RBI Governor, Mr. Sanjay Malhotra. More Indian lenders to appear in top 100 global banks lists soon. So that is the statement given back in November, or I think October 2025, where he explicitly mentioned that we are targeting more banks in top 100 global banks list. Right now we only have SBI and HDFC. So how you will make more banks to come in that particular list, to fall in that particular list? Via the mergers only, right? Then we have the most important authority, the statement of the most important authority here, that is the finance, or for that matter the leader, the finance minister. In the PSB Manthan held in 2025 only, with the eye on customer service, finance ministry enlists private players help. So when we say that private players help is required, we are not directly indicating that yes, privatization will happen. But yes, the government wants 1 to 2 public sector banks break into the world's biggest 20 by 2047. More or less top 20, be it chiefs or for that matter the finance ministry. The indication is very much clear. We want consolidation. We want our banks to perform exceedingly well when it comes to the global benchmark. Fine. So consolidation 2.0 on the cards. What is your thought? Fine. What do you feel? Being an aware banker, what is your thought? Do let me know in the comment section. Whether consolidation will happen or not based on the discussion what we have done here till now. And when we say that the implementation road, this banking committee, high level banking committee, whether it will be done within 2 weeks, 3 months, no. There is a path which the government will follow ideally. So Feb 1st 2026, the budget has announced committee. Then most probably by the end of February, you will find some strategy discussion ongoing across this particular committee. Pointers we need to discuss. Mid to will find the committee recommendation merger blueprint, if any. If the consolidation 2.0 happens, then the blueprint will be ready for sure. Then 2027 onwards, you will find that the formation of multi-mega state lenders might happen, because if you see 2027 till 2047, you only have 20 years, and if government is serious about the Vikasit Bharat by 2047, it will act at least starting from 2027. That is what we can decipher facts which we have seen in this particular video. Fine, all these facts, they indicate this thing only. Fine, but lastly I want to say that whether the banks are ready or not, see, S&P has published that list of top 100 lenders across the globe, and that same authority, that same entity, that is S&P Global Intelligence, has given the key takeaways from the budget of our nation also. Fine, according to the S&P Global Intelligence, they feel that achieving global competitiveness will likely involve sustained improvements in cost efficiency and strengthened governance among other reforms. Although the Indian government budget has queued up another reform push for India's public sector banks with the goal of building world-class lenders capable of supporting sustained economic growth. Still, we have to push harder in order to achieve this particular dream. India's banking sector faces high operating expenses compared with the regional peers. The operational expenses are really high. Why? Because n number of schemes are floating and the bankers who are already giving their level best, they still need to push harder. PSBs are burdened. The public sector banks are burdened with excess and underused branches, hindering the cost efficiency, a problem past reforms drives haven't resolved. So you will find that yes, there will be some changes made by the government, or for that matter this high level committee, but again you should not ignore this fact that we right now have huge issues when it comes to the excess or the underused branches. The workload, already everybody knows what is the level of workload, and when we talk about the burdening of India's banking sector, the burden will rise as and when you start pushing more and more towards the reforms. What should be the ideal structure? That try to reform the current structure, and after that try to push for the credit growth, or for that matter the mega lenders approach. Fine. So yes, this was it for today's session. If you have any questions, any type of discussion you want to have, do let me know in the comment section. We can have a discussion there also. Plus, if you are very much curious that what will be the financial condition of our banks in the banking sector, what will happen, you can also share your thoughts in this particular group, the Telegram group. After scanning this particular QR, you will be able to join the Telegram group, and there also you can have a discussion. Okay, so yes, this was it for this particular session. Now if you are preparing for JAIIB or CAIIB examination, we are having huge discounts on the occasion of Mahashivratri. 3x validity is there, plus more than 82% discount you can have if you apply the coupon code, that is Y1003. Okay, so yes, this was it for today's class. If you have any doubt related to the batches, you can directly call us also on the number, that is 0981 981 9247. This is the dedicated helpline for all of you. Okay, so yes, take this news of banking committee, the high level committee, with a pinch of salt. That's what we can say right now, because the merger, or for that matter privatization, will be an outcome of the economic reforms only. Fine. The first thing which we have seen in this particular session slide, that whether we are looking for the high level reforms, the banking reforms, economic reforms, or mergers, or the privatization. So keep this thing in mind, that economic reforms ultimately will lead to merger or privatization if required. Okay, so this was it for today's class. See you guys in the next session. Till then, goodbye everybody. Take care.